Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Spooky Japan Podcast. We have a very special guest with us today, Larry. How you doing today, Larry?
Good. How are you?
We're doing pretty good over here. It's good. It's good to have you on. We're excited. Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. When I'm looking through all these podcasts and I see one called Spooky Japan, it's like, well, wait a minute, that's different. Okay,
Yeah,
I dig this.
that's one thing. Yeah, we try to educate about all things spooky here in Japan, but then it also
Hmm.
turned in from that to also like the life and culture here in Japan, just because we
Hmm.
get a lot of questions. Then they
Hmm.
start feeling bad, like, "Oh, this is
Hmm.
not paranormal related. I'm so sorry." And you're like, "No, it's okay. You're
Yeah,
curious. It's better to ask us than search it online."
Sure.
it's like all everything, and it goes everything with all in sideways. So, and heck, there's nothing wrong with that. We're not your regular podcast people, right?
Hmm.
We do things a little bit differently,
Sure.
and sometimes we get into the real deep of it, and it gets really freaky,
Mm.
which is good because I like freaky.
Yeah,
Oh my.
I started before the podcast. I did TikToks doing like urban legends of Japan. So I'm
Okay.
still constantly trying to learn a lot about the urban legends here in Japan. So that's my more forte on that. And
Cool.
there'd be also be times where I check with Irene facts to make she kind of like fact checks for me to make sure anything that I posted is factual over here. Because that's funny. Because even though I'm over here, I still get a lot of U.S. stuff. So she'll compare it to the Japanese ones or anything that she's learned throughout her life from it.
Hmm.
And it's interesting how different some of it is.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're just like, yeah, let's go with what the Japanese says about it compared to the American.
Yeah. Yeah.
you get one subject, you get 50 different things out of one subject. You go, which way do I go? Right? That's the way it is here. Oh
Hmm.
well. Yeah.
So for the listeners out there who are not familiar with you, how would you
Mhm.
introduce yourself?
How would I introduce myself? I am an author, a historian, a paranormal researcher, a filmmaker. Um, I tend to go with those four in various orders. So kind of depending how I'm feeling about the day. So like right now I'm more focused on a book that I'm writing. So I'll go with author first. But I'm also working on a documentary. So sometimes I'm a filmmaker first.
I love how you say that. Whatever hat I feel like putting on today,
I got
I
a
feel
lot of
like that
hats,
too.
so many hats, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's like I'm wearing a hat that's got four sides, and I just keep turning it and turning it.
Flipping it right.
Whatever it lands on today, that's the side I'm wearing. But yeah, I'd go with those four.
Okay.
Where did your journey into the paranormal begin?
So it it began with an experience technically. Um, I was in high school, and my parents had this large bunk bed that was, I'm 6'2", so it was tall enough for me to stand underneath at the desk. So the bed is, every bit of 6.5, 7 feet up, and then the
Okay.
railing for the mattress so you don't roll off the bed. So this is a tall bunk bed and solid wood, like 2 inches thick of wood, because I'm a big guy, I'm heavy. And in high school, I remember I was laying in bed and I had one of those boxed 19-inch TVs, and it was wedged into the corner of my room so that I could lay in this bed on a shelf and then look out and still watch TV as I'm going to bed.
Mm.
And when back
There's
then
like,
it would a show would play. I watch a lot of like Toonami, so Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that would be on late at night, and a commercial or an episode would end and it'd go to black for 1 second. Hey Nick, how's it going, buddy? It'd go to black for 1 second and then flash really, really
mhm.
bright, like a commercial would start. And several times in that bright flash from going black, I would see a little boy's head and hands peeking over the railing of my bed. Light skin, dark hair, I think it was brown, and a red coat. That's all I really remember. And we're talking like 7 feet up in the air in my room, just peeking over like inches from my face. So that was really my first experience with something that I couldn't explain. Um, my parents said that when I was really young, I hated sleeping in my room. So I'd always on the couch, or even sometimes when they'd force me to sleep in my room, I'd wake up, or they'd wake up to me sleeping in the hallway outside of my room, just like floor, like camping out. So, something was in there when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But after high school, I more or less just forgot about it. My freshman year of high school was 9/11. So I was the 9/11 generation. I graduated high school and then immediately went into the Army, where I was in the Army for 10 years, give or take. And it was probably 2009. I came home from my deployment and had a lot of time to kill. I started watching Ghost Hunters, got really interested in the show. I still like Ghost Hunters. I still like watching it, but after a while, I started wanting to do it myself. So a lot of things on the show, I'm like, there's no way that's real. That is fake. It's a reality TV show. They're faking it. So I kind of started in the paranormal, to disprove the paranormal. I was a part of a web forum where people would submit photos of evidence, and I would just tear them apart. This is edited. This is this. This is that. This is how you fake that. And then finally, someone got really mad at me and said, "Okay, you keep crapping on all of our stuff. You're going to go out with us now, and you're going to see it for real." Okay, okay, buddy. Sure, yeah. I'm going to go out with you, and I'm going to stand in a house, and nothing's going to happen. I was wrong. I was very wrong. I went to this house in Joliet, Illinois. It's called the Scott Mansion. And Hiram B. Scott was one of the original patent holders for several strands of barbed wire. So this guy had a nice house, but it was in severe disrepair. It was in danger of being torn down. So they were letting people come in and investigate for pretty cheap, just any way to get money. During that night, I was touched for the first time. I felt my first cold spot. I saw a shadow block out the light of a doorway. I heard sounds that I could not explain. Things, footsteps and creaks and pops and whatnot, where that didn't come from us. That didn't come from outside the house. It literally came from 5 feet in front of me. How do I explain that? And it kind of changed how I viewed the paranormal from that point on. And a couple months later, this dude on Facebook named Dan Norvell was having a paranormal cemetery crawl, where he'd go, from cemetery to cemetery around his hometown and investigate from the fence line. I showed up to one. We stayed talking after the crawl for probably 2 or 3 hours. And then for the next 13, 14 years, we investigated the paranormal together until he retired in January. So now I'm doing it by myself again.
That's what happened to me when I was a little kid, though, too, is my parents would often find me sleeping in the hallway, and they never understood why. And it's just like, because there'd be things in my room that, as a child, I couldn't really explain, because this is also when I really couldn't learn about the paranormal.
Right.
And as I tell people, I grew up a Baptist minister's daughter where they believed everything was a demon. So I was taught, if there's something there, it's the demon. If it seems friendly, it's the demon in disguise trying to get you to trust it. That's the whole outlook.
Yeah.
Obviously, once I got older and I lived on my own and I was away from that, I kind of learned otherwise. Especially when having a gift, I was so afraid to use it just because they're just like, oh, well, if you have the gift, you're probably doing witchcraft, or you did something to summon a demon. You have to be possessed by a demon. You have to have a demon attachment. That's the only reason why you'd be able to have that gift. And I'm like, no. Especially then, because they were so strict with a lot of stuff, that the only thing I knew about witchcraft was that Hocus Pocus movie. And I'm like, no.
Witchcraft light.
I mean, I have studied witchcraft just for my knowledge.
Yeah.
So I'm like a little bit more, and I'm like, of course I was like, I'm not doing any of that. I don't know anything about witchcraft to do witchcraft, okay?
Mhm.
But no one believed me. But yeah, there's always something in my room in the night as a child, and
Mhm.
I'd get scared just because I could feel it. And I tell people this. I don't know if it was actually something scary, or if I was scared, or if I was scared because I was a child told I was supposed to be afraid of it.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I remember as a kid, my parents watched movies like Gremlins and stuff like that, and being terrified of that. So yeah, you could associate anything spooky with something that you saw or heard about, and all of a sudden you're like, "That's gonna eat me."
Yeah,
But to be fair, when somebody peeks over a railing and stares you in the face a couple inches away in the dark, I don't care how good your intentions are. Get out of my face.
Yeah,
That's creepy. No, go away.
yeah. Or why are you coming to me? Like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
like, and
I
I
was
didn't
like
give you.
16 watching TV. What do you want?
Yeah, like I didn't give you permission to come to me. Like, what the heck are you doing in front of me? Right?
Right.
especially
The
as a
funny
kid.
thing is, like, that spirit though in my parents' house, we don't know where it's at. It's gone. It's not here
Mm.
anymore. So no clue.
It probably crossed over. It
Crossed
Probably
got
over
did.
or moved
tired.
on. Could have been visiting.
Yeah.
It probably got tired of being in limbo. That's what they do too. You know, they said, "I don't want to do this anymore. I'm gonna go."
Sure. Sure.
So,
And as soon as I graduated high school, I pretty much moved out and went to the army. So, there wasn't anyone in that room anymore. There's
mm,
no one there to talk to. There's no one to hang out with, and just a couple old people downstairs. No kid
mm,
wants to hang out with old people, so it probably just said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go now."
yeah.
I can totally see that. Yeah, I had a friend who that's kind of like how his paranormal journey began. It's because him and his brother shared a room. They had bunk
Hmm.
beds. He was on a top bunk bed.
Hmm.
One night he heard something and he looked over and he saw this yellow looking woman, as he described it, with like no legs, just like
Mm.
looking at him.
Hmm.
Looks like she's floating, and she was whispering something. He couldn't make it out, but she had this crazy look in her eyes, the crazy smile, and then all of a sudden she just drops down through the floor, and the brother underneath, he thought, because when she dropped, he just saw something drop, and he thought like his brother dropped a blanket. So he went to
Oh,
go pick up the blanket for him, and then
yeah.
there's nothing on the floor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
I couldn't,
Interesting.
yeah. I think there was a body like in one of the hidden in the walls though, so that could have
Mm,
been her.
Oh my.
mm.
That story took a real dark turn.
Yeah,
Oh, you don't know what I'm seeing. Okay, we're not gonna do this. I'm not gonna go there. Something tells me that she got hit by a car,
to get what?
and in order to not reveal what happened or call any authorities, they hid the body. That's why she doesn't have legs.
Huh.
That's why
Interesting.
it's ooh, ooh. You don't know what I want. Yeah, I don't like seeing that. Okay, on to the next subject.
There's a
Ooh, yeah.
lot.
I don't
There's
know.
a lot of
Ooh.
ghost stories we find. It started out with they found body hidden in the wall though, like an older
Sure.
house.
Well, there's a reason
Ooh.
why it's so prevalent in TV shows and movies, because it happens.
Yeah,
Yes,
It
people don't
happens.
believe that either. I'm like, nah. I've heard so many stories of it actually happening. So
Right, right.
same thing
Especially,
with
a big city. Like I'm by Chicago. We had
mm,
Al Capone.
yeah,
He was hiding bodies everywhere he could.
yeah,
yeah,
So don't be surprised if you tear down some building and some cement post in the basement of the building, there's a dude inside of it, because
yeah.
that's what he did.
Well, I did a
yeah.
house. I had to do a house. My friend, there's a lady that I know. She lived in Alabama. She said they got demons in my house. I said okay, and a friend of a friend said, "Can you help them out?" I go, "Okay, I'll help them out." And then what happened? It was like a rooming house a long time ago, right? It was a
Yeah.
boarding house, and there was a rich guy who owned some kind of factory or whatever. And afterwards, it became a rooming house with all kinds of people living upstairs in the rooms, and they all kind of like, some of them died, some of them were killed or whatever their story was. And there was a guy in the main floor, uh, on the in the wall. It was the main wall. It was the wall leading to the living room from the hallway, and his body's in the wall. That's why he comes in and out of the wall. And the
Hmm.
kid and the grandkids keep on singing, coming in and out of the wall. And I said, well, you have to you can get ultrasound and look where the bones are in the wall. And
Hmm.
she goes, nah, not doing that. So she flipped the house. I don't know what she flipped the house anyways. But yeah,
Yeah.
she wasn't going to do that. And her husband wasn't going to do that either. I said, okay, whatever.
Sure.
But I got rid of
That's somebody
everything
else's
else.
surprise.
Yeah, but I got rid of everything else in the house, right? I crossed
Yeah.
them over. I kicked whatever that needed to be kicked out. Then
Hmm.
it was clean to the point where the guy in the wall was the only person that was in the wall. That was in the house, right? And I
Yeah.
couldn't convince her to open up the wall and remove him, because if you don't, he's gonna come in and out of the wall no matter what
Mm.
you do, right? No matter what I did, it wasn't going to work that way, right? And she said, well, it's okay. I'll talk to my husband. So she talked to her husband. She said, now we're flipping the house. I go, okay, whatever.
So
You know,
is this a Japan story or an America story?
American story. A
Okay,
lot of my
because
cases are in America. And the
okay,
house, it was a big, huge house in Alabama.
because I don't know a whole lot about Japanese architecture, but from all the cartoons that I watch, the walls don't seem thick enough to hide a body in.
No,
No.
no,
No?
no. But the only ones that I do a lot is in America. I get a lot of people saying, can you help me? You go, okay, I'll
Yeah.
try.
Well,
But
especially like the older buildings. Like there's a lot of older buildings that have like the paper walls. So there's no way
Yeah. Yeah,
you'd be
yeah.
able
yeah,
to hide a body in that.
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Eh,
Absolutely.
Or the
it,
floors was a Tatami mat, so there's no way you're hiding a body underneath that. That's gonna show.
Right,
well,
right.
you can, because it's this much off the floor.
Yeah, it's on a wooden platform, right?
Yeah,
You just got to put them in the crawl space.
yeah.
I'm sure it eventually smell though, because the TV
Oh,
mats are not there.
And you get all kinds of vermin.
Yeah,
oh
You
that's
get
yeah.
why when we had to look for a place, we specifically found an apartment that did not have the TV mats. Because I'm like, no, I don't.
they're hard to
I don't want to
upkeep.
experience having that,
They're
especially
hard
because
Sure.
to
they're so
upkeep.
yeah.
Are they really?
The upkeep, and they're just like if they're you're gonna have to pay to replace them if they're damaged. You move out. I'm like, yeah, more than likely they're going to be as fragile as those stupid things are. So I'm like,
Hmm.
nah, I'm I'm good. I'm good.
You
Mm.
have to vacuum the room out,
Hmm.
and then if the tatami is made in Southeast Asia, you have to use a certain type of bug spray. You put It comes with a needle. The needle goes right inside the tummy mat, and you press the button, and it kills everything in the mat. And yeah,
Huh.
and then you wipe the mat to remove the spray and everything else. But it's a lot of upkeep, and it's really hard.
Yeah, that's also why I said absolutely not. Just because I'd be afraid to have any furniture or anything on it. Just because I'm like, nah.
Sure.
And it'll bite the
I knew
hell
I'd
out of
like
you
this
too.
podcast. I'm learning
It'll
so much about Japan. I'm so excited.
I'm like,
it'll
I do
it'll
not want the Tatami.
it'll
Yeah,
eat
because
you
as
alive.
Irene can tell you, those Tatami mats, bugs easily live in them. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm
Oh.
good.
Well, anime has lied to me because every house has those mats, and they
Yeah.
all look so clean and well prepared. And
Oh, they probably spent forever doing that then.
Yeah.
sure.
So I was like,
It's
I'll pass.
you have to use a vacuum cleaner with a deep beater brush underneath it to suck up all the vermin and all the bugs that grow.
Wow.
Yeah, I lived in 2 places that had that listed. I said to myself, not doing that anymore.
Sure. Sure.
And he said, "Yeah, let's not do this. Let's let's live in a let's move." And I said, "Okay, does this house have any tatami mats?" He goes, "Nope." Okay, it's all flooring, wooden
Sold.
flooring. But houses nowadays are not made like that. Only the old houses have that, and you have to replace the mats every what is it, 4 to 6 years, and then
Oh.
one mat costs um one square piece. What was it? Cost $700.
Who?
Yeah,
Oh my.
a mat, and it's usually like they use six. Local Joe means 6 squares of mats in one room. So you're looking at what, 6 times 6, right?
That's like $4,200 or
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah,
ridiculous. It's a
Yeah,
lot of money.
yeah.
yeah, that's why we saw Tatami mats. Even in
Wow.
like one of the rooms, I'm like, yeah, no, I'll keep looking because I have a dog, so it's
Oh
gonna get
yeah.
ruined.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
crazy.
it gets really expensive too,
Sure.
because and then if you get the ones that are mats in Southeast Asia, made in Southeast Asia, you gotta debug it right away. But if you get the ones that made in Japan, like they're twice as much as money. Like you can find them 3 times as much money as what I just priced that you just said,
Wow.
and yeah, they're made totally different. So
Wow.
it's up to you what you want to do, right?
Well, now I know that if I ever visit Japan and the hotel has those mats, to probably maybe think twice.
Well,
Mm,
the problem is that they have those mats more like it's not gonna be a bed. It's gonna be like a little futon mattress that you
yeah,
just roll out onto the floor, and that's where you
Mhm.
sleep.
Oh.
and and the hotels really upkeep their mats really well. So
Oh, do they?
yeah, they have a budget.
Sure.
So
Sure.
and it's not that bad. Because you're a big guy, you might want to sleep in one of those instead of a bed.
I'm gonna
Beds
need
are
like 6 of
smaller.
those mats stacked up.
Yeah, it's a
Beds
pretty
are smaller here in Japan, so if you're a big guy, you ain't gonna fit in one bed.
No, no, I probably won't then. I have a king size bed and I fit 3 of me on it, so it'd be hard to
Yeah,
get used to something smaller than that.
yeah. You're not gonna fit on that, so don't worry. I think with a futon on it, I think you'll fit better, and
Yeah.
you'll probably sleep better too.
My son wants to go with me because he really likes anime and a lot of that stuff that kind of he learned through anime. He's obsessed with the food, which I am too. But he goes, Dad, if we ever go to Japan, can we stay in a capsule hotel? And I'm like, do you think this is gonna fit in that tube?
Nope,
No,
it ain't
I'm not
gonna.
gonna
You're not
fit.
gonna fit in that.
And he's 6'4". He's not gonna fit.
Nope, neither are you.
No, we get beds. We're too
You,
big. We get beds.
yeah, you guys are big, so you get a proper room with a proper bed,
Right. Otherwise, he'll be
it's,
sleeping in the tube, and then his legs will be sticking out 3 feet. Like,
or
it is
hey,
next door,
tuck your legs in.
or
Right.
next
that is
door,
something I
or in the
learned
next
here.
room.
That is something I learned traveling here in Japan is learning how to read the bed sizes because it will say like for some reason you put like 2 adults and it's a single size bed, so we have
Mhm.
to find like individual, make sure so we have to make sure everyone has their own bed
Yeah,
because even though it says like, oh, 2 people for this one room for this one bed, it's a single size bed, and I'm just like, how do 2 people fit on it?
Yeah. Right.
And then you also have to make sure on the website that it says either Western style, which means it has its own bathroom, or private bathroom. Because if it does not say either of that, you're
Mhm.
sharing a whole bathroom with the whole floor. So
Yeah,
just go like
Wow.
down the hall somewhere, you share with everyone. I'm like, I don't want to do that in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
no,
Really.
That's why someone told me, it's like, yeah, before you book anything, make sure it says private bathroom or Western style, or you're gonna be sharing with the floor. And I'm like, yeah, I'll
yeah.
pass.
Okay, well, this is
Here I
all
am.
very useful
We've got
information,
the key. I don't want to be walking around the hall.
right?
Especially in your underwear, you think, "Oh, I gotta go."
Yeah, I was gonna say. Then I had to, make sure I put something on. Just go find a bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Or trying to find a shower, and other people are in them too, and there's a line or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
Not doing that.
Private bathroom. My
Yeah.
So I'm
shower.
glad someone told me that because there's hotels that we're considering. Then we went back and looked, like, oh no, they don't say that. And we looked further into it. Yeah, you have to. It doesn't have pictures or even come out and say it. Then we find out, oh yeah, it does share a bathroom with the whole floor. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's why. That's why we always check out and see if they have a bathroom in the room, and mostly the ones that we do rent, that we do stay in, always have a private bathroom and a shower and a toilet
Mm-hmm.
and proper sleeping quarters.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you don't, yeah, I don't want to share anything.
Sure.
In the mountains, you might find it harder, but
Okay.
in the city, mostly you're okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
it's just out back,
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense.
And some places don't even have toilets. Some places just have a hole in the ground.
Oh yeah, I've taken a picture of that before and posted it because I'm just like, I went to the bathroom and I saw that
Yeah.
you have to squat for everything.
It's an
Wow.
outhouse, and it's got
Yeah.
holes.
Well, an outhouse
Wow.
in America, you can at least still sit on it to do, one of your businesses. Here, you can't. You have to literally squat
Squat,
to do both businesses.
squat.
Wow. Wow.
Eh,
And then there's some
Speaking
places
of
that
squatting.
have we'll say Western style, which is
mhm,
American, and Eastern
mhm.
Mhm.
style. Because we have people visit us and they're like, what's the Western and Eastern? I'm like, go Western.
Yeah,
The Eastern, if you open it up, it's a hole in the ground.
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Uh, that's when they said Western toilet, Japanese toilet. They said, okay,
Yeah.
always go with the Western toilet, okay? Always go to the Western always go with the Western toilet. Because if you have
our
to do
our
your,
our Western legs aren't strong enough. We have to have something to sit on.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Is I'm like,
uh,
I've tried those Japanese hole in the ground toilets, and I was not a fan. 'Cause I'm just
my knees
Sure.
keep on giving out. My legs, my ankles go like this. It's like, not doing that. I told my husband, can't do this anymore. My legs don't work. My husband's so used to, he's so used to, he's born in this country, and
Mm.
his house had a hole in the ground in the bathroom. I said to my husband, I said, where's the flushing thing over here? Yeah. Oh, there is none. You mean they don't have a, they don't have, they go, oh, I said, oh shit. I said, what's the matter? I said, he said, nothing. I said, nothing.
No,
I,
nothing.
I freaked out. And I said, do I have to do it here? He goes, you have to. He goes, okay. Like his parents lived out in the country, where not too far where Amanda lives. And
Hmm.
they don't have that sewer system, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it costs a lot of money to put one in too.
Sure. Sure.
And
I believe that.
yeah, ugh. And I said, ugh, okay.
I love how out of everything we could have taught him about our culture, it's the toilets.
Hey, that's okay. That's really important to learn for us Westerners.
I was
That's
like,
the
that is
most
the one of the
important
most
thing.
helpful tips I can tell you. If it says Western or Eastern, go Western.
Right.
Yeah,
Check
Out
your
of out of all
hotel.
the places you're going to visit in Japan, that's the place you're going to visit the most.
yeah,
Yeah.
So, it better be good.
yeah. and and you're gonna find that some places have Western breakfast and Japanese breakfast, right?
Mm.
So you could choose whatever breakfast you want.
Mm-hmm.
They have a picture that when you when you check in, they have a picture. Which picture do you want? Do you want this kind of food? Do you want this kind of food? My
Mm-hmm.
husband went with the Japanese breakfast. I went with the Western breakfast
Mm-hmm.
because I like my eggs and I like my sausages and I like, I like my bacon.
Sure.
You know,
Just a sit in one for me.
and I think they give you a whole bunch of rolls on the side, hot rolls. I said, "Oh,
Oh
this sounds
yeah.
good." That's good. It's good for me. Yeah, and you
The
get your
funny thing,
free coffee, free everything. It was only $50, and I go, "That's a good place."
Yeah, absolutely.
That
the
was a good place.
funny thing about those bathrooms also is when you go to the Western ones,
Mm.
they have the pictures for the people who are used to the Eastern ones where it says, "Do not stand on a toilet seat and squat."
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I can see
who
that.
stands on the toilet seat, right?
I know, no,
So funny enough, Afghanistan is actually very similar. They have
Mm.
a very similar style because they don't have plumbing. Even in a lot of their bigger cities, they don't have plumbing. So
Mm.
it's the same hole in the ground, except for them, it's a tiled hole in the ground.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
it's nice, but it's still a hole in the ground. And
Yeah,
then you still got to do the same thing. And
yeah.
then like on our bases, we have American Western toilets, and it's the
Hmm.
same thing. You would hear about them squatting on top of the toilet, like with their
Yeah.
feet on the lid, and this is like, no, no, you don't have to do
Mm-mm.
that. Just
No.
sit.
Yeah, just put your butt
So
on the toilet and just go. Right.
right. Right. I remember this one interpreter would always tell me, like, I tried to squat on it, but I kept slipping off. It's not big enough for my feet. Like, why are your feet on the lid? Sit.
In Japanese toilets, they're really expensive, right?
Mm,
The lids are really, especially in the one in my house. Like
mm,
my house has a bidet. It washes your butt, it rests your front. It
mm.
has a seat warmer. It does everything right,
How
except
does
make
your
you
husband feel about that?
come. Oh, it came with the house.
Okay. Has he adjusted well?
Yeah, and yeah, it squirts out hot water. It squirts out warm water. It squirts
Mm-hmm.
out cold water if you want it. Yeah, whatever.
Hmm.
And yeah, and you can't. And one toilet seat is extremely expensive. Like it would be about $500 for one toilet seat.
Ooh. Okay.
because it's heated.
Yeah,
Right.
And there's
you've
something
got to.
magical about sitting on a heated seat.
Yeah.
I will tell you that.
Well, in the wintertime, you freeze your fingers off because we don't have central heating.
Oh.
Or
Okay.
central AC. So that's why we tell people if it looks like we're dying on our podcast, we are from the
We're
Yeah.
heat.
dying.
Oh. Okay.
Like I
Interesting.
just turned on my air conditioner and go.
Yeah. So
It's
then all your units are window mounted or wall mounted
door
then?
mounted. It's wall mounted.
Well,
Wall
yeah,
mounted.
well mounted.
Oh, just a second. Hold on. Beep 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 beep. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
that's my AC.
And then it what is it? Just have a drain on the outside or an intake on the
Yeah,
outside?
they
Yeah,
drill a
say
hole
ours
in the
does.
wall
Okay.
to put it in there, and then it has a gas. It has a certain amount of gas in it. So if you
Hmm.
have to remove it, you have to call the guy who puts in the thing, and they remove it for you, and they
Yeah,
put it back on it for you. Yeah,
it's probably
and
Freon.
the water goes outside, so it drains the water from in the house and goes outside.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
But yeah, it blows out hot air in the wintertime and it blows out cold air in the summertime. But sometimes it's so damn hot. You get warm air blowing out of it in the summertime. You
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Irene was
go,
telling me the other day she had hers on 17 degrees Celsius and it did absolutely nothing.
it was,
It
That
did
I
not.
was
is
so
It
that's
was
what 70s
60,
Fahrenheit
60.
60s, right?
Yeah,
60s.
60s.
Okay. I always have a hard time converting the two. I know 0 is 32, and then it gets kind of wonky from there.
Yeah, it gets really hot because outside it's like 100 outside.
Okay.
And
it
the
is
heat.
17 degrees Celsius, 62 degrees Fahrenheit. So
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there going, I'm trying to keep my head in the
Yeah.
game here. And I go, I kept on moving around in the room because it was so hot, and I kept on drinking. I drank the whole bottle of soda and a whole cup of coffee. And I said, and I waited till it cooled off, and I was guzzling down all this drinking. I was going, this is not good. It's too dark.
It's too hot.
I told him I'm boiling to death.
Yeah.
She's looking at her. She's going, I'm melting too. Like she's melting. We're both melting. I said, how long do we have to do this?
We have to talk for 4 hours like this? What? All right,
Luckily,
Nick,
it
we
was
gotta
only
we
2
gotta
hours.
go. It's been 4 hours and we're melting.
They said, okay, after 2 hours, okay, we're done. Bye.
Click.
We couldn't handle it. It was so hot. And my house is set right back on the property because there's houses in the front. So they don't have houses all in the same area. Like 2 are set back and 2 are set in the front because you don't get, it's too dark, right? So my house is set way back in the property. And then you get the full sun beaming down on your body. I go, it's really hot. Like, be careful. Don't come in the summer. You'll get swamp butt really easily.
Okay.
that's why they tell everyone don't visit here in Japan in the summer. We're not saying that we don't want you in the summer. We're just saying we don't want to be here in the summer either.
So I'm guessing it very humid then.
Yeah, it's very humid and hot. Yes.
Okay.
100% humidity. Like, yeah, when you get off the airplane, it hits you right here like that.
Yeah. I did my basic training for the Army in Missouri. And I remember coming from Chicago, we have humidity, but it's not horrible. Like it's not bad. It's just hot. And I remember getting off the airplane and oh, this is a nice airport. Da 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 da. And I opened the door, the revolving sliding door to get out of the airport, and I got smacked in the face with real humidity.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
You
what is
can't breathe.
this? I can't breathe. Why is my body heavy? I don't like this.
In Japan, if you come in the summertime, you leave the house. We leave about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning to go anywhere. If we don't, you can't handle it, right, Amanda? You have to
That's
leave.
why usually every place sells like handheld fans, or they even sell something that you put that goes around your neck and you put it in the freezer.
Oh yeah, okay. So then,
They even
for
sell.
all of
see
these
people-
schools, schools and stuff, don't the students have uniforms with like pants and jackets and stuff?
Yeah.
How do
they have
they do
summer
that?
wear. They have summer uniform. It's lighter.
Oh, okay.
It's thinner. And so they wear that to school, but they have to go to school in uniform.
Yeah.
You can't go on the property without uniform in Japan.
I can imagine even the summer uniform is probably pretty hot then.
Oh, like they have short sleeve. Girls have a short sleeve blouse.
Okay.
They still have to wear up to here, and they still have this particular bow tie that they put on their neck.
Yeah.
And they go to school with this. It's like everything's wool, right? So they have a wool skirt. It's thin. It's summer wool, and they go to school like that, and they have to wear socks and shoes, proper footwear to go to school.
Sure.
They do that 6 days a week, every day. And the boys wear slacks. They can't wear short pants. They wear slacks, like a necktie, short sleeve shirt. They have to have proper necktie.
Yeah.
It's a clip on, right? And they go to school like that every day.
Oh boy.
And you got a backpack full of books, like books like that much,
Yeah.
and they go to
Yeah,
school
that's
like that.
usually why they start. I think school days are longer here,
Yeah,
just because I'll see them. I'll see them in the morning walking to school, but then I also see them in the evening walking home.
yeah.
Sure.
They go to they leave. They wake because it depends on how far you live from the school. They usually get up at they leave the house by 7:30 in the morning,
Okay.
and they come home about 6 o'clock at night.
Oh, that is a long day then.
Yeah, and
That's
only on
that's that's similar to
Saturdays they
my
get.
day at the university then.
Only on Saturdays they have a half a day, so they're
Okay.
waking up in the morning. They go to school, and they have club days where they play badminton, basketball, tennis, whatever.
Yeah.
They come home later. Like they'll
Oh,
be at 7 o'clock at yeah, they'll be at 7 o'clock at night.
wow. That
My
is
kids,
very different.
yeah, my kids went to night school because they get headaches, so they go to school at nighttime. So they leave home at 5 o'clock in the evening, and they come home. They they're on their way home by 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's every day.
Okay.
And if they have club, they come home at 11:30.
Jeez.
Yeah, and they come home, eat dinner, go to bed. Like they're or else if they have homework, they'll do their homework till midnight and go to bed.
Yeah. So we were
It's a
talking a little bit in the green room, I guess it's called, about how Japan is like obsessed with the occult, right?
hmm
So are they in any like occult clubs at their schools?
They
Are
don't
there
have that.
occult clubs?
No, 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 no,
Oh, they're not.
no. It's
So it's because to
they.
talk about it's taboo to talk about the paranormal over here, and
Yeah,
that's also why I posted once that
Oh,
there's no paranormal teams here. There's no
no.
haunted locations you can book. There's no
wow.
we have 1,000 cryptids, and I
hmm
posted recently in a Bigfoot hunter group.
hmm
Please
Uh-huh.
come to Japan. I'm like, we have thousands of cryptids, even our own Bigfoot,
hmm
but no one here
Yeah,
to go out and research and answer any questions. And I'm like, there's thousands, and sometimes it's just this is what it looks like and this is where it lives. That's the only information we know about it because no one wants to go find out more. Or
Yeah.
you might
sure.
have at least one other sentence of something else about it, but that's it because like no one else wants to go out and find anything about it. So we're like, please come
Huh.
Yeah.
here, start answering questions.
Yeah.
This
But
is
get
this
get
is
a
how
Western toilet.
this is how it is in Japan. This is paranormal. This is the spirit or whatever or the dark one. This is us. We respect you. We understand you're there, but I'm gonna walk this way. You're gonna walk that way.
Okay.
I respect you. I understand you're there. I know you're there, but don't come near me and I won't come near you.
Yeah. Which is interesting because so many of these animes are heavily occult themed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Is the animes? Yeah, that's how they pretty much learn about them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That and word of mouth from like their elders because we
Mm-hmm.
don't
Sure.
actually so we don't have any vital records here for you to go to research a location.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's word of mouth.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And you learn from an old person. Young person may or may not tell you anything. If you know of a person who lived in a certain area, they'll tell you because they learned it when they were a kid
Sure. Sure.
and they grew up learning it and they know about it.
Yeah.
But that's how you know is by people who lived in the same area. They'll tell you all kinds of things.
Huh.
Uh, they'll tell you all kinds of spooky stuff. But when it comes to really dealing with it, they don't want to do it.
Wow.
They respect the dead. They do everything to appease the dead, but they're not gonna. But they don't want to contact it. They don't want to have anything to do with it.
They're
Hmm.
it's more worried of what happens if this gets angry.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's what
That's
my
why
son. Yeah.
there's a lot of shrines here built to appease the spirit because
hmm
Yeah.
they were afraid it was angry and they're like, we're gonna build you a shrine to as here's a peace offering, here's your own shrine.
Right.
Yeah,
Just
that's what we have with my family relatives. because they have so many bloody battles, samurai battles. Like the whole area is so haunted, you wouldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to bed. And we stayed in the hotel next to the shrine, not too far away from it, like maybe about 15 minutes away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I something came to me in the middle of the night and said, "Hi." I go, "Yeah, what?" No, "I'm here. I was killed by a samurai warrior." I go, "Okay, bye." I said, to my husband, uh, uh, sometimes I can't sleep. Sometimes I wake up and I feel like I haven't had sleep in 5 days. I feel like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets pretty bad sometimes when you're living in this country. Yeah, it depends on where you go to sleep. Better make sure it's not an old place, because if it's an old place, it probably had hauntings, right?
Huh.
Yeah, hotels, they don't tell you. They don't have even records about hotels, don't they, Amanda? So it's like at your own risk.
Sure. Sure.
And that area is really bad. So they built a shrine. And just recently, I think I posted it on our page. They unearthed a whole bunch of skeletal remains and heads and dismembered bodies and stuff like that. They found it. It was on the beach. Uh, they had probably had a really big bloody battle,
Yeah.
and they
Wow.
just found it just recently.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna put it. They're not gonna entomb it. They're gonna they goes to the research center, which I'm totally against, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's part of history. And it's
Hmm.
gonna be locked under key too. Imagine how the souls in that body are. I'm not gonna go there. Okay, whatever. But scientists want to study it, right?
Right.
What are you going to learn from it? Okay, they were killed. They probably had dismembered. They probably had no heads. Some bodies had no heads because when they were killed, in order to make sure they died, you have to remove the head and bring the head in a box,
Mm.
and that's proof that you killed that person, right?
Right.
Long time ago.
It's not just for
So
that reason, but they also used it, even if they didn't need to prove that person was dead, they'd still take the heads to kind of be as a trophy.
yeah,
As a
Mm-hmm.
don't mess with me, here's my, start using them as trophies. Because
Mm-hmm.
there were places, especially back then in Kyoto, where they displayed the heads as a trophy and a warning.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then just recently they create burial grounds, right? Where you only have the heads in buried under buried in the plot. So yeah,
Hmm.
and they're pretty active too. Like,
I would imagine those spirits would be pretty upset.
oh yeah,
Where's my
they
body?
yeah like
Mm.
they and
On the
they get
beach somewhere.
yeah
Probably.
they're kind of peeved off, right? Because they
Sure.
were killed and
Just try to explain to them, like, listen, your body's on the beach. I know you're not on the beach because you're attached to your head, but your body's having the best time.
yeah
It's enjoying the sunset. It's getting to see
yeah
the waves.
yeah
It's okay. Just relax.
yeah.
Enjoy the beach like your body.
It's yeah. Most of the beaches here are really haunted too.
That's wild. That's wild.
There was an
I
urban
That wouldn't
legend.
like make my top list of the most haunted places. It would not be a beach. Like I wouldn't think that,
Hmm.
but it's
Yeah,
cool.
because I could take you to a whole bunch of places that are off map that people say, "Oh, you gotta go there. You gotta go there." I said,
Hmm.
"No, you gotta go here,"
Hmm.
and they're not on the list of haunted places because they don't do that, right?
Right.
Um, People don't know about it because they don't. It's just not written anywhere.
Sure.
And I'll say, I'll take you there.
It
Like,
it's it sounds to me like Japan needs some really dedicated paranormal researchers.
yeah,
Yes, that's what we keep
Not
saying.
not investigators,
No.
researchers. And
Yeah.
sometimes there's a difference and sometimes there's not.
Mm-mm.
You know, like I'm one of those people that interchange the words because I'm an investigator and a researcher.
Mm-hmm.
So I can do both and I'll flip them around or whatever. But
Yeah.
there are some people that just they are really good at one or the other.
Yeah.
And Japan needs the one. They need the researchers.
Well, it's got to come from another country because it's not going to come from this country.
Sure.
And nobody here wants to do it. Even the paranormal investigators don't want to be known where what is and that is and that is. Like,
Huh.
no, they don't use equipment either.
What do they do?
They I could shoot you a TikTok video that
Okay.
has these paranormal investigators going to this particular place. They'll tell you what's there, what happened long time ago, blah blah blah, and they'll
Uh-huh.
show you the place, but they will never. They don't have equipment. Of course, Japan makes a whole bunch of equipment, right, for paranormal investigators, right? They're
Sure.
one of the biggest companies that
Well, she can get it
Panasonic.
there. She can get it there in Tokyo. I'm in Nagasaki, which is
Yeah,
or the bottom of the island is more country, so I couldn't. I'd had to order offline.
yeah.
Oh.
Uh, you know, uh, Panasonic and Sony makes the biggest productions of. Sony makes or Nikon it's called in English, makes the biggest
Mhm.
cameras for that, and Sony makes the biggest sound equipment for that, and
Sure.
Panasonic makes the biggest electrical equipment for that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
and they're not that expensive. You can get them really cheap if you leave overseas. You can get it like duty free,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, it's like they don't buy it. They'll just go there, see what, because all of them I have are clairvoyants, and they'll
Oh.
go there and say, okay, I see that, and they'll talk to the spirits like I do. They'll do
Uh.
exactly the same way that I do.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll talk to them and I'll say, okay, what's the matter? What do you want? Why are you there? And they'll do the same thing as I do. That's the way that I do it here because I don't
Mhm.
use equipment either. I don't need it. I can hear them. I can see them. I can feel
Sure.
them.
Sure.
And yeah, and they'll do it that way. And some of the places are really freaky haunted. Like they
Yeah.
don't even want you to know where it is either.
Wow.
Mm. And some are really bad. It depends on. For them, they're used to it because they know what they're doing.
Mhm.
Um, you get these other people who are on YouTube, and they're like explorers of haunted places,
Mhm.
and yeah, they
So
won't do.
so the paranormal community, whether it's in America or Japan, it's always YouTube that's the problem.
Mm-mm. Yeah, and
That's
they
reassuring.
they
Yeah.
showed one guy who was in. He was only in his 20s, right? He did this haunted place. I don't know where it was. It was supposed to be really bad,
Mm.
and he was exploring it, and he said, I'm going to go to the hospital tomorrow because I don't feel good. And of course he had a friggin' attachment, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, and next day they brought him out in a casket.
Wow.
Yeah, because he died in the hospital because whatever he had killed him.
Wow. Okay, so don't investigate Japan. My
Well,
So I mean,
goodness.
you can like get cleansed. Go to a temple and get blessed or get cleansed by monks
yeah,
after.
Oh, okay. Okay.
like I could drag you to my temple. They get rid of if you have attachments, you can go there. If you're worried about something, you can go there,
Huh.
and you can get cleansed for what, $50.
That's not bad.
No, yeah, but I usually drag the whole family there.
Sure.
We get it depending on how bad how much spirits I interact with.
Mm.
every 6 months for me.
Oh, geez. Still not
Yeah.
bad.
No. It, it
$100.
no. It gets pretty bad for me
Yeah.
because I do sessions. I do spiritual sessions in my home, and yeah, it can get pretty nasty with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get the dark ones on this side. I get the good ones on that side. I get the brutal relatives on that side. I get the ones who haven't crossed over on that side. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like smorgasbord.
Yeah.
People
So
who live in Japan are not. Oh, if they are into the paranormal, they're not open to the public about it. And if you do find that they either don't record anything because they're afraid someone's going to find it, or
Hmm.
if they do record something, they're either behind the camera so you don't see them,
mhm.
or they blur out their face, or some people say, yeah, these people even they'll wear a mask to hide their
Yeah,
identity just because
Yeah.
they can't have their friends or family, or
yeah,
especially their workplaces, know that
Oh.
they're into the paranormal. Because unfortunately, if they find out that you're into it, even though
mhm.
you don't ever mention your work or has anything to do with your work,
Hmm.
you can still get terminated for it.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Like even seeing a UFO, right, Amanda? If you're an airline pilot, commercial airline pilot, if you see UFO, if you announce it to the air traffic controller and you talk about it in public, yeah, you could lose your job.
Wow. That's crazy.
They benched an airline pilot for Japan Airlines. They
Yeah.
benched him. In fact, they made him do desk work for the rest of his time, and they gave him an early retirement bonus and said, "Okay, you're done."
Mm-hmm.
And he was a really good pilot for the 747, and they flew from America to Japan all the time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of like go over the North Pole because it's faster than going round, right?
Yeah.
You
Right.
save a lot of fuel. So they
Right.
go over and they come down and then they land in America or in Canada or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
That's they have flights going 7 days a week to America, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he saw a UFO in the sky. He freaked out. He announced to the air traffic controllers. They thought he was crazy, but yeah, it didn't go well with him. And he spoke about it in public and to different societies that deal with airlines, and
Mm-hmm.
which is
Wow.
sad. Which is sad. Which is
Yeah.
really sad.
Yeah.
Like, even in the paranormal with Amanda and I, we're the only ones that are open to talk about it. They don't do that here.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and they also not willing to join a lot of groups either. We've reached out to try and connect, but it's just one of those things where they don't want to because they're just like, we don't want to risk
Yeah. And I
somehow
made
and
Yeah.
yeah. And I made friends with a lot of people on they're they're hiding out in what's the other one? Instagram, right? I reached
Mm-hmm.
out to them. They went hee 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 like that to me in Japanese.
Hmm.
They laughed at me. Well, that was the end of that one, right, Amanda? Not doing that anymore. Like, ha ha ha. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm
that's
sitting
also
here.
part of the reason why we started this podcast, is we wanted to be this safe place for anyone into the paranormal for
Yeah,
whatever reason in their lives they can't admit to it, and we're like, we
Sure.
totally understand you. It
yeah,
doesn't have to
Sure.
be anyone. It doesn't have to be just people in Japan. It's anyone in general for whatever
yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
And if
feel
you're
like,
clairvoyant, we could help you. We could help you with how to feel better and hear about it. We could help you there too. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. And we could talk about it. If you want to talk, if you're feeling upset about it, we could help you with that too. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and they're not. And then it's like I know you, you know me. That's fine. See ya.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And even Amanda doesn't talk about it. You talk about it? I don't think you do, don't you?
Not here, because no one else is really into it. So I even joined like other groups or people here who moved here, supposed to be like the paranormal community in their area, and they're not. And I'm like, cool. I could obviously find someone else here, and it turns out no one else is really into it. They're just hoping to get a good scary story from where they are. And I'm like, is this really what these groups are for? To hear a good
Yeah.
scary story?
Yeah.
Mhm.
They just share scary stories, right?
Yeah, it's not one of those things where people are really into the paranormal. Like that breaks my heart. It really
Yeah.
breaks
No.
my heart.
Yeah.
And it's really hard when you want to talk about it. Like me too. I want to talk about it too, but I find that I really can't,
Mhm.
or I shouldn't, or I won't. Like there's only 3 people who know what I do here.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah, because I don't want to get locked up into Bellevue in Japan. Because they'll call you nuts, right?
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Um, Paranormal used to be really, really, really into it a long time ago,
Mm.
but the young people don't want to have anything to do with it. They call it fake.
I blame
I think.
YouTube for it because especially because the majority of YouTube videos they have on it is from
Yeah.
America who's
Yeah.
faking it. Those I mean
Mm.
I get a lot of those videos because I get a lot of the videos. I get a mixture of videos from over there and over here show up on my feed. And
Sure.
Yeah.
unfortunately, I'm seeing that the ones that they're seeing is people who has clearly, very badly faked it. That's
Yeah.
why
Hmm.
over here they're less likely to believe it because they're just so used to people on YouTube or TikTok. They're
Mhm.
just badly faking it, where you can see the string being moved.
Yep.
There's
Yeah.
or they hear a voice, but there's clearly like like a stereo in the next room, and they're just playing a recording of a voice, or they're
Mhm.
like, I hear my own voice, and you can tell it's like a stereo over there, the Bluetooth just playing a recording of them saying, "Hey,
Mhm.
over here," and
Right.
that's it. And I'm just like, this is probably why they don't believe in it. They're just like, oh,
Yeah.
because everyone fakes it. So
Right.
Yeah. And it's
Oh
kind of
boy.
sad. And you get the people going investigating in certain bad areas in Japan. There are places that I will do, and there are places that I don't do.
Yeah.
I will not do it, even for the life of God. I won't do it. I swear I won't go there. And there are places that if you don't know what the hell you're doing, you don't go, right?
Mhm.
And they they load it up on YouTube, okay? And my son said, "Don't watch that one. Don't watch that one. Don't watch that one." And they go, "Why?" He goes, "Yeah, because it isn't cleansed. Usually, videos here get cleansed, so you can watch it.
Hmm.
And if it's not cleansed, the spirits are kind of like they don't care who you are, right? They'll come out. Amanda will
Mhm.
tell you. They'll come out. And they'll say, "Hey, I'm here. What are you gonna do about it, right?"
yeah,
And they'll
Yeah.
come at, they'll come after you, right? In the uncleansed video. And he told me, watch out for that one because a lot of people have died watching that particular video on YouTube. Uh, They don't care.
there's
And then I
something
get
in
people, yeah,
there's something
and I
in
get,
Irene's bloodline that clairvoyancy runs in her family.
yeah.
Yeah.
And my son said, be careful of that video. And, you know, you want to watch it, right?
Sure. Yeah,
The
absolutely.
curiosity kills a cat, right? And
Right.
he said, don't watch it. And I said, okay, I won't. I didn't. I didn't watch it. Okay, I didn't watch it because I trust my son. Okay, and anyways, I said, why? He goes, a lot of people have died. It's not a cleansed video. I go, okay, they'll come after you. If you watch a video, they'll come after you when you're not looking, right?
Yeah.
And this, oh my God, okay, I won't do that. Yeah, that's scary, right?
Yeah.
If they won't come after me, they came after my son. He goes, are you watching haunted video? I go, no. Like this. He goes, yeah, whatever you're watching came after me. And I go, okay, turning it off, watching something.
Mhm.
And I thought it was really cool. Wow, this was really cool. Like, ooh, okay. Like, and he said, "Yeah, don't watch that." And he goes, "Why?" The little girl came and stood in front of my face and said, "Ha ha ha!" I go, "Ooh, that's spooky, right?" He goes, "Yeah, please don't." I go, "Okay, I'll turn it off."
Wow.
Like, yeah, like in Japan, they'll come after you. They'll come and they'll look at you and go, "Huh? So what are you gonna do about it, right, man?"
Yeah, that's happened to me several times here, not even just with videos, but sometimes like my dog will start barking and she'll run out and I go to see what she's barking at. And there's a
Yeah.
shadow figure and just kind of laughing. It's just one of those. It only stayed briefly to be like, I can enter your house and there's nothing you can do about it, and then takes off. Kind of
Mhm.
as a warning. It's just don't mess with me.
Yeah,
Wow, that is so different. It's so
yeah,
That's
different.
like you kind of tell people, because I'm just like, I've experienced some shadow figures in America, but they're usually moving and they're hiding. And I'm just like, here, they're not afraid to stand and stare at you.
Sure.
For
they'll
the
come.
first
Yeah.
time
They'll
it
come at
happened,
you. Yeah,
the first time it's ever happened, because there's a lot of shadow figures around in my area alone. They'll just stand and stare at you.
yeah,
And everyone's just like, how come you don't try and talk to it? How come you don't try and take pictures? Because it's like, it tells me it doesn't want me to.
Mhm.
yeah.
So I'm like, am I going to piss off a shadow figure? No.
No,
It says, leave me
because
alone. I'm just standing. I'm just letting you know this is my area. I'm like, all right. They're like, either don't come over here or stay on the side of the road. I'm like, I will be on the side of the road.
yeah,
Mhm.
I have no
uh,
problem staying away from your area if this is the area you want to claim.
her area is really sad. It's got a lot of people that were killed in the atomic bomb. It's got a lot of people who are crucified in the cross because they
Mhm.
believed in Jesus Christ and Christianity.
Mhm.
It's a Buddhist country, okay? And if you don't believe in Buddhism, you're ostracized because of it. And the followers were all crucified to a cross, like they did with Jesus Christ. You're gonna live, you're gonna believe him, you're gonna live with him, you're gonna die like him.
Yeah.
So they crucified all the people. It was like
Wow.
24 people and the two priests. I think they were Spanish priests because you got the Portuguese ship and you got the Spanish ship that first came to Japan, and they brought brothers and they brought priests with them to teach the word of God. So they all died the same way as he did,
Hmm.
and they killed them on the mountain. I could say killed. They killed them on the mountain. Okay, I'm not gonna quote it, sugarcoat it for you, anybody. Okay, they brought them to the mountain. They crucified them to the cross. They nailed them to the cross, and that's how they died.
Hmm.
So you got way more Christians where she is than where I am in Tokyo. But yeah, it has a really dark side of it on that
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, I have a lot more people who died and besides both. Obviously I live near both bombing sites of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, so you have those.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
Yep.
mine, for some odd reason, it has the more of the tragic deaths around me compared to Irene up in Tokyo. It has more
Yeah.
of the suicidal deaths, where even they still both spirits, both kinds of spirits still want nothing to do with you and don't really want
Yeah.
to talk to you,
Yeah.
unless in Irene's case with hers, they don't want to talk to her, but they want to tell her to go unalive herself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
You
it's
gotta
social
be.
media friendly.
Yeah. They'll pretend to be friendly, but then they'll say go and kill yourself.
Mhm.
I mean, that's not doing that. Sorry, it's just a different type of people.
Sure.
Different
Sure.
type of different hauntings, right?
Right. Right. Absolutely.
It's totally different. And for us, like what I learned from an elder person, you don't talk to people who commit suicide. And I learned that very early on because they can be jealous, angry, or whatever, right? They can be really pissed off with the whole world, and yeah, that's why they unalive themselves. So you have to be very careful who you engage with,
Mhm.
and yeah, you understand they're there, but you say take a number. That's mostly what I have to do in my house.
Mhm.
If they come to me and said, "Oh, how'd you die?" I ask them the first question, "How did you die?" "Oh, I killed myself." I said, "Okay, take a number. Bye." And they leave. They run. They leave.
Yeah.
They leave because they want you to die with them,
Mm,
and not doing that. Sorry,
right.
no. It's really, some places are really dark, right, Amanda?
Yeah, it's because Japan is mostly a Buddhist country,
You could
and
tell them.
the Buddhist belief is if you're not happy in this life,
Mhm.
you can go ahead and kill yourself and try again in the next life.
Hmm. Okay.
So that's
So
why
they,
there's a lot of the suicidal like souls here too.
yeah,
Interesting.
There is no the mental health is not really a thing here. There's not really a psychiatrist. That's one thing they check before we come over here is if we need anything for like mental health. You're not qualified to come here because they're like you're not going to get it over there in Japan.
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
Not because it's just like we don't want you to. It's because it's not available to you.
Yeah.
No,
Right. Hmm.
they even
So it's
had
basically
Buddhist
it's like
priests.
mentally deal with anything on your own.
Yeah, they even had Buddhist priests doing that too. They drink the tea from a very poisonous bark of a plant to make themselves into a mummy.
Mhm.
And the police said you can't do that anymore, but I bet they still do that.
Sure.
So they'll
Sure.
they'll kill themselves by like drying up the flesh of themselves by drinking this tea.
Mhm.
It's called urushi. It's a very poisonous bark of a tree,
Mhm.
and they make beautiful cups and and saucers out of them and plates out of them. But once they're lacquered that way, it's not poisonous anymore. But it's like painting the poison, painting that color onto a plate. You have to wear gloves and you have to use this protective brush to do it. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the practices here, right?
Yeah.
It's just it's creepy, creepy, creepy.
Sure.
But you know, we've lived here for a little while. Amanda's lived here for a little while now. She's used to it. We're used to it. Like, okay, no problem. It's just part of living here. In the
Yeah.
beginning, she freaked out. I freaked out too, the same way.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I
because
said,
I'm not used to, and as I tell people this, I mean, obviously going back to like the American thing where shadow figures are moving or you see them dark and they're hiding. It
Right.
was so confusing the first time I saw one because they're just standing there staring at me. Where I was just thinking, I'm looking around and I'm looking back at it and I'm like, is this reality? Are you actually standing there staring at me, watching
yeah,
me? And
Mhm.
I was walking my dog, and my dog was reacting to where she acted like she usually did when she saw like a new person where she wanted to go say hi. And I'm like, okay, my dog sees this.
Mhm.
It's fucking there.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was so weird to me. And I wasn't used to it the first time because I'm just like, what's going on?
Right.
Why is he just standing there staring at me? But now I'm just like, nothing new.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just on the other side of
Wow.
the road. That's usually what they want from me to be like, this is my area right now. I'm standing here. I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, go to the other side of the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And that's why how we learned to get in touch with each other. I learned to be friends with her through social media, and she she messaged me and I go, "What happened?" She goes, "Well, you know." And I go, "Okay."
Well, I wasn't sure at first what I wanted because I'm like,
Yeah,
you want. It turns out they don't want anything from me here. They just want to let me know
yeah,
this is my area. I'm here right now, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Mhm.
yeah. And she'd freak out, and I go, "Take a picture, calm down, just relax, and show me, and send it to me." And she goes, "Okay, I will." Yeah. it in her area, it's like almost everywhere where you go is pretty haunted, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
For me, it's the same way. you don't have to go pay money to see anything haunted. You just go out your front door and there you go.
Sure.
You can't pay money to go to haunted places, which makes me sad. That's the first thing I looked into when I got to Japan. I'm like, I'm going to join the paranormal community in Japan. I'm going to
Yeah.
investigate all these haunted places, and I can't wait to share with my American friends all my investigations over here and what I'm doing. And then I'm looking into it. There's no paranormal teams.
Right.
There's no paranormal researchers. There's no
Nope.
place for you to book to investigate. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
publicly, it's just me and her.
Right.
Mhm.
Yes, technically, I can go to a park to investigate. However, evidence-wise, there's going to be too much interference
Sure.
for it
Sure.
to be, what did that actually happen, or did something else happen? It could easily be debunked that way. Like, oh, I heard a voice. Well, I'm in a public park, so how do I know someone's not over somewhere else and we just didn't
Mhm.
see them? They could have been like, oh, trust me, I'm alone here in the park. And like, well, they could be somewhere you're not seeing them. They could be
Mhm.
hiding behind a tree, messing with you. You don't know. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that just because there's too much
No.
interference for me to be able to say this is actually why this is going on.
Yeah.
Or they block it off where you can't get into it, right, Amanda?
Yeah,
They
mostly
fence it
haunted
off.
places here are blocked off, so you can't really go to them or fully see them.
You can view it through the fence. They say because the environment is dangerous, right?
They're afraid you're gonna upset a spirit.
Okay.
Because they don't know what to do over here. We don't have like a Catholic. We don't have demonologists over here or Catholic priests who really know how to go out there and do cleansings or
No,
exorcisms or anything like that. So they're just
no.
like, we're just not gonna mess with them.
Yeah.
It's the most weirdest country if you're from an outside looking in.
Mhm.
It's the most weirdest place. Like you'd say the question, why? Because, and that's it. Take it or leave it, right? So, and that's why I think most of my cases are in the States.
Yeah.
A lot of them are not in this country. I don't
Mhm.
know if I do one in this country because it's just me, right?
Right.
And Amanda lives a little bit farther away from me, so if I do it, I'd like to have her watching my back, and I'll have her back.
Mhm.
It's just really difficult. So I'm waiting for her to move up here so we can do it together.
Sure.
Yeah, 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 and that's why she's not gone out either because she's all by herself, right?
There is supposed to be a really haunted area just north of me called the Inunaki Village. This place, the village, and also the Inunaki Tunnel is
Mm.
so supposed to be so scary that's inspired horror games, TV
Mm.
shows, movies, all that.
Wow.
And
But it's
last,
also like the Inunaki Village. There's no way in hell I'm going without someone,
Yeah.
yeah,
especially someone who could watch my back, just because the Inunaki Village is based, or in English language, the Howling Dog Village is. Have you ever seen the movie Wrong Turn?
Yeah. Yeah.
They had that society in the woods. It was just like that, where it was a bunch of outlaws in Japan who lives there when
Okay.
it was inhabited, and in the middle of the forest and on a mountain. When you make the sign is still there, so you make it up there to this village.
mhm,
The sign says, beyond this point, Japanese law does not exist. Because the people who live there, like I said, they're outlaws, so they didn't want to live under Japanese law. So they're
Sure.
just like, we're gonna make our own little town where
yeah,
anything and everything goes.
Yeah.
There's no laws. There's no one who can tell you what to do. You can't get arrested for anything. You can commit literally any crime
mhm,
and not have any consequences. Now now it's deserted. Besides, they said maybe squatters live there, but
Hmm.
still, that's also why I want to go with someone in case there is a squatter.
Mhm.
I don't want to go alone, but also B, someone with like Irene, because
Mhm.
some gruesome murders happen there. So I just want
Yeah.
to make sure I'm kind of safe both physically and spiritually from whatever, or at least
Yeah.
someone there to kind of help me in case whatever happens.
And my husband grew up not too far away from there,
Hmm.
and everyone knows about that place. All the school kids knows about that place. Like, he's 1 year younger than me, and he said, "Yeah, I know about there. I know where it is. You want to go? I'll take you there."
Hmm.
And he knows exactly where it is. He knows exactly the place there.
Yeah.
The only problem is the tunnel is now blocked off. You can't get in the tunnel,
Hmm.
but you can get into the forest in that
Yeah.
area. And yeah, he said, "I'll take you." I go, "Okay." So I said, "When we go and visit Amanda, we're going. Guess what? We're going to Amanda."
A lot of gruesome murders also happen in the tunnel
Yeah,
nearby, so
yeah.
that's why that's also blocked off.
Hmm. Okay.
I mean, it's supposed to be really bad in the tunnels, and the other side of the tunnel leads to that village.
Yeah. Right. Right.
But it's supposed to be really bad. The tunnels are really bad, and the village is supposed to be just as bad as the tunnels are.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just want to poke around and see what I can get. And I said, "Amanda, you want to go?" I said, "You want to go, Amanda? Let's go."
I do. It is something I want to see, but like I said, it's definitely something you'd have to have like the right people go with you just to make
Yeah,
sure you're okay. Because I
Yeah.
and
have
make
to
sure you.
assume
Yeah,
violent murders also happened in that
yeah,
location too. Because like I said,
Sure.
there's absolutely everything went. So
Sure.
yeah. Like, I think I'd have to meditate for 3 days straight before I go there, because I want to be totally grounded when I get in there.
Hmm.
It's just not one of those places where you can go, whatever, right?
Hmm.
Nah. I mean, if I can drag my son in there, it'll be better, right, Amanda?
yeah,
If I can drag my eldest son in there, it'll be even better. But I think it'll just be Amanda and me, and a couple other people that we know are
Yeah.
just gonna go there. But yeah, we're gonna have an excursion thing in October.
Hmm. Hmm.
You want to come?
Unfortunately, my October is very booked.
Oh,
you'll have to
too
come
bad.
sometime and go see the village.
Yeah, I absolutely. It's on my list of places to go. So one day I will definitely set foot in Japan.
Oh, no problem. You got to get a hold of us too,
Sure. Sure.
because um, we'll take you to this really different, weird places, right, Amanda?
Mhm.
And my husband just bought a book of all these interesting haunted places off the roads of what everyone else knows, right? Everyone knows the
Hmm.
suicide part, blah 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 blah. Blah. Yeah, okay, that's haunted. Okay, yeah, everyone knows about it. Okay, Aokihara Forest. Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
we'll take you there. But there are tons of other places, right, Amanda? They're not even listed that are just as haunted, but nobody knows in the Western world about it.
Sure.
It's,
Sure.
it's just crazy places, and yeah, you got to be really good at what you do. Like, you have to be really, you have to know what the hell you're doing, because if you don't, you're gonna wind up in a whole lot of trouble, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's not one of the places where, "Hi, I'm a spirit, come and say hello to me." It's not like that.
Right.
And then we're just saying that, yeah, be careful, don't act so gung-ho about it, like, "I can talk, I can do whatever I want. Yeah, you're dead, you can't do anything to me." Like,
Mm.
correct.
Yes. Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
"Sorry about it. Yeah, you came to the wrong place if you have that attitude."
Hmm.
Because they're gonna bring you back in a box the next
Right.
on the
Right.
airplane, right? You're gonna have
Yep.
your funeral in America, right?
They'll bring me back in the box, but I'll be stuck in Japan. Like, guys, I can't leave. I'm stuck here.
Don't worry about it. We'll
Irene,
keep
help
this.
me. Get in line.
Uh,
Pick a number.
we'll help. You see, there are ways that you can do places like that.
Mm,
Uh, um, as long as you listen to me and Amanda,
mm,
you'll be safe. You know,
sounds good to me.
I don't like taking chances like a
Sure.
lot of people do. I don't like taking risks,
Mm,
and if you're not ready, I'm not gonna bring you. And
I'm
Amanda
definitely
will tell you the
they're
same.
definitely different here than America. I can't explain it, especially energy wise. It just feels so much different over here than they do over there.
Yeah,
hmm.
that's why I think I make a lot of protection jewelry. I
Yeah.
use a lot of selenite. I use a lot of obsidian. I
Right.
use a lot of cat's eye. Cat's eye is one of the good ones.
Mm,
It protects against evil, anything bad. I use a lot of jade. Jade
mm,
is also a good protection stone. Um, Jade will keep you up from getting into trouble, and jade is also a healing stone too. An orange jade will help you from getting if you have any ailments, it'll protect you. It'll help you with your ailment, so you feel
mm.
better. So that's why I make a lot of protection. It's not fun jewelry. It's like protection jewelry, you know.
Right. Right.
And I made a couple for Amanda. I made a couple for a couple people who are investigators who really probably need it, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's what I do. I make that when I'm not doing this, right? It's the thing that I do, and I make it for men and I make it for women, right? It, it, because they go out and they do stuff, right, and they get into trouble. Even in America, they get into trouble, right, Amanda?
Hmm.
And you got to just. But in Japan, it's kind of funny. I went to Hiroshima. I did the atomic bomb building.
Mm,
I was packing all my freaking stones. Like I went to the stone place in Hiroshima. I got a whole bunch of things that I could use. I said, okay, I'll need this. I'll need this. I'll need this. I'll need that. I bought a whole
yeah.
bunch of stones. I think I bought $50 worth of stones because it's cheaper in Japan.
Sure.
Stones are cheaper in Japan. I bought a
Sure.
whole bunch of stuff. The guy who runs the store gave me this little bag to put all my stones. I said, okay, thank you. He gave it to me because I bought all kinds of stuff. I put it in my bag. I put it in my handbag. I went to this place. Yeah, they don't. Whether you're packing or not.
Yeah.
And the paranormal investigator from English said, "You gotta carry tiger. You gotta carry tiger eye." I go, "Okay." Yeah, I said that didn't go well. That didn't go well. My husband went with me. He got attacked by these ants that lived in a tree, and it freaked him out. He started
Mhm.
running. He started running because I said, "Oh, they don't like you." He goes, "Yeah, they don't like me. I gotta go and sit over there." Like, what are you doing here? Like, they'll use any force that they want to, and they'll come and attack you.
Mhm.
And it freaked him out, scared him like the bejeebers out of him. So yeah, it's they'll use anything. They'll manipulate the mosquitoes. They'll manipulate the ants. They'll manipulate anything to come and
Wow.
attack you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was packing all my stones.
Sure. Sure.
I was sitting there laughing. He goes, "What's so funny?" I said, "Never mind."
You have all the protection, but none of it worked.
That was so freaking hilarious, right? And he got pissed off because I was laughing. He goes, "You want to know what's so funny?" He goes, "No." And I go, "Okay." And I told him afterwards. He said, "What?" And I said, "Yeah." It's like that in Japan. It's like that. Like, yeah, I don't care.
Mhm.
And Amanda will say the same. Yeah, I don't care.
After a
It's
while, you just
so
get used to things.
yeah.
Like I can see a shadow figure standing there anymore, and I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
leave you alone. Don't
continue.
worry, buddy.
I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna go on what I'm gonna go on, and you're gonna do whatever you do, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
It's really fast. Like when you go there and look at it, you see electronics everywhere, right? It's really cool. I think they use that to create tourism because
Hmm.
they know the other side of it, right? And Tokyo is one of the places that um, the land is really expensive, right? It's
Hmm.
taxes, they just made a new land tax. So um, if you own a chunk of land, you'd have to pay so much tax on it, right?
Right.
So um, people who owned the land were probably older people. They're living off of Social Security right now because they're probably in their 80s or 90s years old, and they can't pay the tax, so they sell the land. Guess what? Yeah, and the land was pretty significant because there's a lot of battles that happened on that land. That's why it stayed in the land. That's why they didn't do anything to the land because
Hmm.
they know what happened. And they sold the land to developers and they created a whole bunch of apartments.
Yeah. Yeah. And now
So you
all the
got,
apartments have extra spiritual tenants,
yeah, they don't pay rent yet. They don't they don't need to pay rent.
but
They'll
they also
walk,
don't clean either.
no, they walk in and out of the walls. You get half
Yeah.
samurai warriors like from cut from here up
Right.
because they were in a battle and they're walking through the walls, and the people who rent these properties, they're really expensive, you know.
Hmm.
They're like $10,000 a month.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
And when you rent
That's
it,
that's expensive.
yeah, you have to have security deposit. You have to double the rent on you
Yeah.
to pay for it, right? And that
Right.
goes in the 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 or apartment or the real estate agent. You put it in their bank account. You have to transfer the money to their bank account plus the security deposit, and then you
Hmm.
get the keys. And yeah, they're horribly haunted, and it's unfortunate the tax came out because
Hmm.
they could keep it in the family because it was they know how bad it is, right? They know how haunted it is, and they just couldn't pay for they just couldn't pay the taxes, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, there's so many places like that in Japan that that have been taken over by land developers, and they're putting houses up and they're putting apartments up.
Hmm.
It's pretty bad. There's one place where we were looking to buy a house. We were looking to buy a piece of chunk of property so we could build a house on it. My son said, "Don't buy that." And he goes, "Why?" Because there's a hand coming out of the ground.
Jeez.
It was making me think you got to buy that.
Right.
It was
Right.
forcing me to say you got to buy this. And I fought with everyone in my family. And my son told me, and finally he came out. He tried to tell me in a nice way, but he had to come out in the most horrible way to tell me what was going on with that land. I said,
Right.
okay. I listened to him. I said, okay, I trust you. I listened to him. Okay, let's look at something. And they were going to build 6 houses on that land. I think they did it already. I think they sold it all.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty bad.
One thing that culture shocks me over here, and it culture shocks a lot of people who move here, is when you go move into an apartment or rent a house.
Hmm.
Besides, like she said, like the security deposit, the first month's rent, last month's rent, whatever. There is also you also give a monetary gift to the landlord as a thank you for letting me move in that you never get back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And if
So
you
not
don't
only
have a
are you
clear,
giving them the month every month, giving them rent every month, but it's also like here is an additional money for letting me even move into your apartment.
yeah,
Wow. That is very different. Yeah.
and then for everybody who lives around you in the same apartment, you have to buy some kind of gift for them. So when you move in, because you may make a lot of noise. You have movers bringing your stuff in. It creates a ruckus in the apartment. So you have to buy
But
something.
also, if your neighbors, if your neighbors are Japanese. Luckily, my building's American, so we don't do that, nor do we care. But you're
Sure.
supposed to give them, especially if you don't do the whole building, you have to at least do your both next door neighbors.
Yeah.
You
And the
have to
person in
give
front of you.
them, whatever, whoever is like around you, basically, you have to give them you give them I'm your new neighbor. Here's a gift. They're supposed to. I think they're supposed to give you a gift eventually back. Welcome to our neighborhood. Here's a gift.
Sure.
No,
Sure.
they don't have to.
They don't have to?
No.
But it's so
Only
weird.
when
As
you
you,
move
as
in.
the new person there, have to give them a gift.
When
Which is funny.
like either a box of chocolates or some sweet or some cookies or some cakes. Yeah.
That's not
It's usually
too bad, I guess.
It's usually $20 to $30 a pop when you do that. So yeah.
It's not
When you move out,
horrible.
you have to do the same thing. When you move out, you have to do the same thing. Yeah, it's just.
You'd think it'd be the opposite moving out. Like, hey, I'm leaving. Here's a goodbye gift.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, neighbors. I
Yeah.
gave you chocolate. Now you give me chocolate.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they do give you a gift back to be polite, and that is something
Yeah.
they said be aware of. And sometimes some people start doing gift wars between them and their neighbors, or I give you something, they give me something. I try to give you a little something better back. They try to give me something a little better back. Luckily, like I said, I live in an American apartment building where it's one of those, we don't do that. Don't knock on my door unless you really need anything. So I don't have to worry about. I never had to worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, guys, I got to cut this one short because I got to get up in the morning for work.
All right.
We've been on for almost an hour and 40 minutes.
Well, it was good having you, so we'll definitely have to have you back on.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I learned a lot.
And then we can also learn about your more paranormal experiences too.
For sure. Yeah, that sounds good.
And we're saying, come and visit us. We're always here. We're always going to be here. Amanda's going to be here too. I don't think she's not going to go back to the mainland very much.
We don't have to go back to America. We don't, especially how America is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not go back. We don't ever have to.
Okay.
I think she likes it better in Japan.
I do. It's so safe here because me as a woman can walk in a dark alley at night by myself, and I am completely safe.
Yeah.
You can't do that in America.
No.
You can't even walk in a nicely lit street by yourself at night.
Right.
No.
Right.
Even if you want to go to the convenience store and get yourself some ice cream because it's so bloody hot, you can do that in the middle of the night here in Japan. And the convenience stores are right near where you live too, right?
Yeah. Everything for me is I have to drive, so there's no walking. You have to drive.
Oh no, I've got a convenience store right in front of right outside of my place. Yeah, I've got a 7-Eleven right, like just across the street from me. You can go there. You can see it from the street where I live. Yeah. That's how close it is. You don't have to worry about taking a card there.
Right.
Japan's 7-Eleven is taking over the American 7-Eleven. So
yeah.
That's something that
7-I Holdings have their own bank, and they're changing everything. Even dollar stores are taking over too in America. Did you know that, Amanda?
No, I just knew 7-Eleven because everyone who's ever been here is so excited about that. Because 7-Eleven here is so much better than the American ones.
Sure. Yeah. I believe it.
Daiso is a company that's taking over the Dollar Tree stores.
Okay.
So you're gonna have fun.
I'm gonna get there eventually. I will do it.
Yeah. Bring your son too. We'll have a lot of fun. It's not all It's not all paranormal. You got food, you got good restaurants, you got good places to eat.
That's
you
what he's
got good
excited about. He
places to
wants
hang
the
out.
food. He's like, I see
Yeah.
these foods on the shows and I want to eat them. And I'm like, I know, I get it. I do too. One
Well,
day we're gonna do it.
thank you so much for joining us. We'll definitely have
Yeah,
to work with you again to get you
Yeah.
scheduled for a part 2.
absolutely. It sounds
Yeah.
good to me.
All right, and thank you for
Come back
joining
for
us.
part 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, come
everyone
back for
out
part 2.
there, thank you so much for joining us. See you next time. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.